Hey, God, how you doing? Yeah, they're asking me a question whether I would put myself in the same category as people like, Martin Luther King or Gandhi or people like that. You don't have to be so dramatic about it. Just you could have just said no. Okay, thank you. She said, "What the hell are you thinking?"
Okay, Neale, welcome to the second interview. My first question is, what would you say if someone made a religion out of your books in 20 years?
Bravo. I would say congratulations. I would say I hope that the messages in Conversations with God has served humanity at large, all of humanity, as much as it has served me and the several million other people who have read the books and found themselves agreeing with them. I would say that at the very least, even if it turns out to be not totally, completely, and absolutely accurate, at least it has moved humanity to a new place, a place of being willing to question what we have been telling ourselves for millennia about God. So I would say every step forward is progress, and we are not doing well if we continue to hang on to beliefs that have been given to us hundreds, many, many hundreds of years ago.
Thank you for this. The second question is the idea of Brahman in Hinduism, where God is understood as the self, is almost or even completely identical to the God in the books. Why do the messages in Conversations with God have so much in common with the teachings of Far Eastern religions?
Truth is truth no matter what the source. That's what I was told in Conversations with God. Truth is truth no matter what the source. I can't tell you why one religion agrees with, or some religions agree with the messages in Conversations with God, and some religions do not. But I think it's more than just those particular Far Eastern religions. I think there are many, many, many faith traditions which agree with much, maybe not every single word, but agree with much of what is found in the Conversations with God material. So, and I think that's one reason why so many millions of people, my friend, in 37 languages around the world have agreed with what they're finding in Conversations with God, because even if they don't belong to a particular Far Eastern religion, they have found themselves nodding, yes, yes, this makes sense. So I think that the reason that many people, not just certain religions, agree with the messages in Conversations with God is because they ring true to the heart of humanity. So many people have been saying to me through the years, at last, a God who makes sense to my soul.
I have one question. A lot of things changed since we saw the last time. It's a few months ago. And if you look around the world, a lot of things are worse than before. did this change your mind or your feelings or your knowledge, what you got from your discussions with God? Did anything of that, what happens, change yourself or your thinking?
No.
That's a great answer. No.
Okay.
I know you want more. I know you're trying to draw more out of me. How can we draw more out of Neale? We want Neale to say a lot of things, but the truth is, you asked me a direct question, and I gave you an answer. The answer is no.
No, I'm not disappointed. No, that's okay.
Yeah. I like to ask you a question as well, Neale.
No.
No.
I just thought I would give you the answer before you asked me the question. Okay, go ahead. Ask me the question.
I will. It's because of the world right now, the situations. When a person is coming to you and the person is very carefully for the future, and this person doesn't believe in God, what would you say?
About what?
About the fearfully of the. This person comes to you and said, "I'm very afraid, and I look afraid into the future."
I would say, have faith in the process of life itself, that life will work out in the process of life itself, that humanity has gone through difficult times before, extremely difficult times before, the dropping of atom bombs, pandemics in the past, 1912, the great flu epidemic, and many other deeply challenging times. So I would say, have faith in the process of life. Then I would also say, what is the worst that can happen to you that would make you afraid? If the worst that can happen, you might say, well, Neale, I could die. That's true. And we will all die. It's not a question of whether we will die. It's simply a question of when. Will it be this year or next year or in 25 years? But we're all going to go back home. We're all going to find ourselves once again back in the arms of a loving God. And if dying is the worst thing to be afraid of, then you're afraid of the best thing that could ever happen to you. Therefore,
dying is not the worst thing. I think living is the worst thing in this time.
Yes. Well, allow ourselves to use the events of daily life as an opportunity to demonstrate who we really are, to respond in the best way that we know how, to react with love and peace and caring and forgiveness and understanding, and allow yourself to see the events of this day, whatever they might be in your life, as opportunities to complete the agenda of your soul. And the agenda of your soul is evolution, to move forward in the expression and experience of your true identity. as I said a moment ago, we've lived through difficult and challenging times before, and we will do so again. It's all a part of the process by which civilizations throughout the universe evolve. We are not the only civilization of sentient beings in the cosmos. Humanity is on this planet, but there are other planets in the universe where there is intelligent life. And my understanding is that all of those civilizations have gone through the process by which they have matured and grown and come to larger and more expansive understandings of life itself, who we really are, and the purpose of our having joined the realm of the physical. So I would say to that person who is afraid, I understand that you could be afraid. Things could occur that you don't welcome, that could be unhappy for you, that could even be painful for you. But if you will give yourself permission to put all the events of a future, whatever they might be. By the way, incidentally, not every single thing that happens in the future is going to be negative. There just might be a positive thing as well. So if somebody comes to me and says, I'm afraid about the future, I would say, do you think it's possible that a good thing might happen in the future? Or do you think that everything that's going to happen is going to be negative? Could something good happen? Could things change? Could something turn around? And if you think that that is at least possible, then I would say think on those positive outcomes. Send positive energy to the universe. Don't become part of the fear that produces more fear, but step into tomorrow with positive hopes, dreams, aspirations, and ideas. And let yourself then know that whatever occurs, you'll be just fine. All of us have gone through difficult times in our life, personally, as well as collectively. Life was not meant to be easy or simple. Life was meant to provide us with opportunities to demonstrate our true identity as individuations of divinity. And that's what's true about the future, as well as the past. So I would say to a person who's afraid, I understand how you could be afraid, but do what you can to not live inside of fear and to not add to the fearful energy of humanity. Because that will do nobody any good at all. Or, as someone said about 2,000 years ago, be not afraid, for I am with you always.
Yeah, that's true. I know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Honestly, I forgot this sentence that you said at least. I forgot it. You remind me.
So do you have more bullets you want to shoot at me?
No, we have
Sorry.
we have other things. Anke, now is your turn. Jetzt bist du dran, Anke.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Neale.
Hi.
I am so happy and thankful to be able to meet you.
Well, it's nice to be able to meet you as well. I've been waiting for many, many months, and now I can finally meet Anka. Gosh, it's such an honor to meet you, Anka.
Thank you. Please excuse that I must read this text. I only have little experience with speaking English.
It's okay because I have to read the answer as well.
My son has translated my words for me into English. Since I first read your very first book, I have always hoped to meet you personally. Like you, I have found the love in me, and I made peace with my life and with God. Within your first book, I have recognized the Lord's voice, which helped me, as I often had the feeling that I am only imagining all this. But this is not important. It is a privilege to live in communion with God, and it is the most beautiful thing imaginable to me, whether real or imaginary. 14 years ago, I had a near-death experience. I was terminally ill. I died and was allowed back to life. I wrote a book about this experience, which was published in January. I was touched by love back then, which changed my life completely. I am no longer afraid to talk about this. For years now, I have held services in my local church in which I am talking about God, His mercy, His kindness, His love, and His peace. In this place, there is no fear. I think that today we have the great chance to reinvent and rebuild our world if we just let our love flow into our lives. This is how peace starts. I am thankful to you that you are sharing your peace and your love with the world in your many books. I ask you to tell us about the love which you live and experience and about your peace. I do not have any questions to you, just my deepest gratitude.
Dankeschön.
Ah!
Oh,
Oh.
that was sweet. That was sweet. Oh,
I could have, I don't speak your language, so I had to have it translated into your language, but there it is.
When we saw the last time, you started with a few German words, and I hope you improved your German knowledge.
Kleine.
Kleines bisschen.
Kleines bisschen.
Ja.
yeah. Okay, Paul.
Yes. Okay, first of all, I have to thank dear Neale. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart and soul. Thank you for being such a courageous and wonderful messenger for the most extraordinary dialogue I have been privileged to know in my life. Thank you for almost 2.5 decades of continuous spiritual journey into freedom of mind and spirit. That could not be more beautiful for a boy raised in a Catholic context. Thank you, dear Neale. I'm deeply touched.
I knew there'd be somebody who wanted to say something about Catholics, and so I'm glad you're here, that you could be, our person who could talk about their Catholic upbringing and how happy you are to have found a pathway to God that serves
Yes.
you. Yeah, thanks for telling me that.
Yes, I for myself have no questions to you, but I learned from you to hear what people have in their mind, in their heart, and the questions they talk about, and so I would have one question, and I will read it so that you can hear it. I know by now many people in the world have become aware that the combination of their thoughts and feelings has great creative potential. Many use it in their personal lives with success, and yet many find it difficult to collectively, across global distances, to sink into meditative silence and to energetically collaborate on common visions and creations, because the intensification of effect and the achievement of goals cannot be clearly observed and experienced in a measurable way. On the contrary, some have the feeling that rather aggravation occurs instead of the manifested occurrence of the vision goal. Can it even be counterproductive and add fuel to the fire of conflict if we visualize out of a sense of fear and doubt? Often there is disagreement about how best to design a visualization in order to arrive at common images, thoughts, and the associated focused energies of feelings. In the Conversations with God books, it is clearly explained that the key power is of the emotive utterance of certain words and phrases as formulas of creation. Can you give us some new clarity and guidance here? From your insights, is there something like an optimized basic matrix, something like a simple 5-point list from which any vision work can be generated? One into which we can ultimately embed any theme and apply it collectively worldwide for creation energy optimized vision work. Could humanity's team world set something like this in motion and offer it multilingually so that movement of recreation comes into humanity? There is this new program for Essential in many languages you started. If we can use this tool to control and balance the climate of our planet for the best, like the highly devolved ones, then isn't it high time that we optimize and bundle our best creation energies and put them into action with a maybe 5-point toolbox in the hands of all people?
Please make sure in the future that your questions contain at least 10,000 words. That question only contained 7,242 words, so it was not quite long enough. I need even longer questions with many more words to make this program as complicated as possible.
Paul, hast du das verstanden?
Yes, I did.
Sorry.
How in the world do I answer a question like that? But yes, it is time to answer one of the several questions you had embedded in your inquiry. Of course, it's time. Certainly, it's time for us to join together, if we can, as a single unit called humanity, and to bring our energies together to think in a more positive and loving way about the future we would like to create. Now, I'm not aware of any particular 5-point program. When you ask, is there a 5-point program or something that, could have a series of points to it, but I can tell you the energy that we collectively send into the future will be most powerful when it is the energy of what I have come to call pure love. My answer to your question is that humanity would be best advised to join together and to actually ask itself a question. What would love do now? And then to provide humanity's answer to that question with the thoughts and energy projections that we send into the universe. So I do think it is high time. It is an important time for us to join together and collectively send healing, positive, forgiving, and loving energies into the cosmos, into the environment. I agree with you completely. But I don't have any 5-point program I could give you. But I would simply say, what is the most loving thought about tomorrow that we could put into the environment? And can we all join together to send that thought into the cosmos, into the universe?
If you say the best advice for humanity would be to join together, I'm totally with you, of course. But do you really think that we will be able in the future to join together? Because I think if you say so, that means that at least the most or the biggest part of humanity has to think the same way and to understand what we have to do. And I don't see that.
No, it's not happening. I don't see that either. But I do think that really good ideas can occur when, I'm sorry, I mean to say that really good ideas can take hold, can spread quickly. Mm-hmm. You know, and now more than ever because of the internet and other ways that we have that we didn't have even 25 years ago. So these days, for instance, to give you an example, if people like a particular clothing fashion, mm-hmm. if they see it, all of a sudden, in 6 months, everybody is wearing that particular fashion. If the kids today have a catchphrase that they like to use, and it's picked up by adults, and suddenly that little catchphrase, that way of putting things is, you know, I'll give you a good example, woke, W-O-K-E. Yeah. All of a sudden, you know, let me tell you something. 2 years ago, the word woke wasn't even part of our vocabulary. Now, people all over the world, not just in America, in Japan, in Germany, in Australia, in New Zealand, in France, in Spain, people are talking about other people that they say are woke. That wasn't even part of our discussion 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I want you to know that because of the ways we now have of communicating with each other, the speed of our communication makes it possible for us to take a really powerful idea and spread it across the planet rapidly. So if what you asked me a moment ago, you know, do I see that happening? I didn't see it happening 25 years ago, but I do see that it's possible for our most positive ideas to take hold. All we have to do is to create what scientists call critical mass. To reach critical mass, with a particular idea about ourselves and about God and about life. And then the first domino will fall. And when the first domino falls, all of us will be woke.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, all of us.
So to answer you directly, I do think it's possible. I don't think it's. I agree with you. It's not happening now. When you say I don't see it happening, I agree with you. I don't see it happening now, but I do think it could happen. There was a famous Frenchman who said, "All the armies of the world can't stop an idea whose time has come."
What? Okay. It's a good sentence.
Yeah. And when I want to change something in the world, me as a single person, and I want to do something very good, what do you think I can do?
Simply model it. What you can do is what all great messengers and teachers have done. Be a model. Be an example.
Yeah.
Be a demonstration. You know, Gandhi answered your question 25 years ago. Gandhi said, quite simply, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Yeah.
And people like Gandhi, people like Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., people like that, in fact, have changed much of the world. So there have been some changes that were not part of our life even 25 years ago because of people who have decided to be an example, who have decided to model the behavior they wish to see others to copy. So what I try to do is behave in a way that I want other people to copy. Copy me. Be a copycat. In America, we say, be a copycat.
There I have another question. Now that you mentioned Gandhi or King, for example, that's the two person you mentioned now. There have been role models for many people, for billions of people. And now I see, it's my opinion, I see you as well as a role model for many, many people by your books, by what you said, by what you wrote. Do you see yourself, maybe it's too personally this question, but do you see yourself at the same stage as Gandhi or Martin Luther King, or is it quite different? Don't ask your lawyer.
No, because is she there? Yeah, okay. Would you put her on the phone, please? Hey, God, how you doing? Yeah, they're asking me a question whether I would put myself in the same category as people like, Martin Luther King or Gandhi or people like that. You don't have to be so dramatic about it. Just you could have just said no. Okay, thank you. She said, "What the hell are you thinking?" No, I'm not. Apparently, I'm not at the level of Martin Luther King or Gandhi or any of the great messengers of the past. I would not put myself in that category. And if you think that I should consider being in that category, just ask my wife. She will tell you what it's like to live with me day to day, hour to hour, and she would have laughed you out of the room for even asking that question.
just was curious.
Well, my answer is no. No, I'm not functioning at that level. Here's the difference. To be serious.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to be serious, but to be serious for a moment.
Okay.
People like Gandhi and Reverend King and others who have changed the world not because only of their ideas, but because they lived into their messages. They were living demonstrations of what they said. My greatest failing in life is that I do not always demonstrate what I share with others. If I have one wish in my life, we say in America, what's on your bucket list? In other words, the list you have before you die. What's on my bucket list is, could I just have one day before I die in which I actually lived fully the breathtaking messages I've been given to share? But the truth is, they aren't my messages. I simply took dictation and I passed the message along to others. But on my gravestone, what I hope they chisel into the gravestone is, he made it for at least one day. He wasn't just all talk and no action. Gandhi was a person who acted the way he talked. Martin Luther King Jr. was a man who acted the way he talked. Joan of Arc acted the way she talked. Neale Donald Walsch does not act the way he talks, but at least he found the path that he was looking for all of his life. Now we'll see how far he gets along that path. But no, am I compared to Mr. King or Mr. Gandhi? No. And no one who knows me would suggest that I am. But you know what? At least now I know where I'm going. I spent 50 years of my life not even knowing where I was going, not even knowing what's the purpose of life. Why am I here? What am I trying to do? Somebody just give me some answers. God said, okay, take this down. Get out a pen and pencil, a piece of paper. Take this down. You want answers? I'll give you answers. And he gave me answers to every question I ever had. Now all I have to do is live up to them.
But you can't tell me that all the answers God gave to you didn't change yourself, your mind, your behavior to other people, to yourself.
You're right.
Yeah, you see.
You're right. I have made some changes for sure. But do those changes throw me into the category with Martin Luther King Jr. or Gandhi? No.
I know that you would say no.
Well, of course I would, because it's simply not true.
Because it's you. You say no. I know. But you changed you as a secretary of God, changed, let's say, million lives as a secretary of God. And you changed your life as well. And
a little bit.
I think a little bit more.
Okay, a little bit.
A little bit more, yes, more. And you are an example. You know that. Maybe you don't want to say that, but you know that. And that's good.
Well, you know, there's an old saying. Can I tell you this? There's an old saying. If you see the Buddha walking down the street, kill him. No, that's not a joke. That's actually not a joke. That's an ancient, true saying. If you see the Buddha walking down the street, kill him. And you know why they used to say that? Because if it looks like the Buddha, if it acts like the Buddha, if it says it's the Buddha, if it declares itself to be an example like the Buddha, it's probably not.
It's not, yeah.
So that's why there's an old saying, if you see the Buddha walking down the street, it's not the Buddha. Because the Buddha doesn't go around telling people, I'm the one.
No, I know. Now I understand. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So if I ever say to you, if I ever say to anybody, I am an example of how people should live, God help me.
Maybe you're not an example, but you really help people, and I think that's.
Oh, that's true. I wouldn't deny that. The words that I was given to share, the words of God contained in the dialogue. If you said to me that question, Neale, do you think that God's words in the books have helped other people? Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely. I would agree with you. But if you say to me, Neale, are you an example like Gandhi or King? The answer is, I know, I'm telling them the answer. Relax. The answer is, what in the heck are you thinking about? Of course I'm not.
Yeah.
But I am a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
I used to be a nightclub comedian.
Okay.
Did you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. I used to be a nightclub comedian. Can't you tell?
Very successful, I think.
Well,
I enjoyed my time in as a nightclub comedian.
Oh, perfect.
I'm too old for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Torge, it's your turn. Come on.
What do you say to people that are afraid of the hell?
I would say to them, my own personal understanding is different from yours. I would say to them, I honor your understanding. I'm not here to try to change your mind. I'm not here to convince you how wrong you are. I have no need for you to believe something that I believe. So what I would say to that person is, oh, gosh, we have different ideas about that. Your idea is different from mine. I also don't like spinach. And some people do like spinach. I can't imagine how anybody would ever want to even eat one bite of spinach. Because spinach is horrible. It's the worst vegetable in the world.
No, it's not.
No, but it is. You have to understand. You have to believe me. If you don't believe me about how bad spinach is, then you're no longer a friend of mine, and we can have a good argument for the rest of our lives. Every time you bring up vegetables.
Yes, right.
So I would say to a person who thinks that they're afraid of going to hell, I would say, golly, you have a different idea from my idea. And you know what? Truthfully, sometimes when I say that, people say to me, well, what is your idea? Then I tell them what my idea is because they invited me to share my idea. And then they might say, well, I don't agree with you. I say, terrific. Terrific. To thine own self be true, as Shakespeare so beautifully put it. To thine own self be true. And it follows as the night the day, thou then canst be false to any man.
Thank you for that.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, thank you. Another question. What is the most important message of all?
We are all one. There's only one of us. There's only one thing in the universe. All things are one thing. And there is only one thing that is everything that is. But the one thing is expressing in a countless number of ways. And we call that life. All things that live. And all things are alive. Even planets, even stones, even rocks, even mountains are alive. Because if you look at them closely with a microscope, you see atoms and particles moving at insane speed. Nothing is standing still. Everything is moving. Everything is in motion. Even a rock looks like it's solid and it's not moving. But of course, if you examine it with a microscope, you find out that, like everything else, the particles that make up the rock are in constant motion. So if you decide that what moves is a demonstration and an expression of the energy we call life, then we notice is that everything is part of life and everything is part of the essential essence that created life, that I call, in my language, God.
May I just have another question? What I think I understood from reading Conversations to God, or with God, is one thing with the 3 steps, like first step is to think about something, second step is to say it, which makes the third step that it appears in basically terms. You know what I mean?
To demonstrate it, yes.
To demonstrate, yeah. So if this works, and I'm sure it works, and I know it works, but do you think that the wish or the thoughts of one person could be strong enough to change global things? Could I, if
I understand the question. I understand.
I have a wish. Is it strong enough?
I understand the question you're asking. It depends on who the one person is. Obviously, wherever 2 or more are gathered, there's more power. But there are individuals who have had a strong enough thought that they have changed the world, both for the better and sometimes not for the better, for the worse. Mm-hmm. So was Napoleon a person who had strong enough thoughts to impact half the world? Yeah. Was Lenin a person whose ideas were strong enough to affect half the world? Lenin's ideas created an entire civilization, an entire country. So go to Moscow. Go to a city interestingly called Leningrad. Go to Leningrad and ask the people there, can one person be strong enough to have an idea that affects half the world? And in Leningrad, they'll tell you, why do you think our city is called Leningrad? It's not called Walshgrad. It's called Leningrad. So the answer to your question is obviously yes. History has shown us, both in a positive and in a not so positive way, how individual people can have ideas and energies that are powerful and strong enough to impact the entire globe. And I don't have to tell anyone in Germany how true that can be, because there was a person in that culture who touched the lives of 6 million people with an idea that he had.
You are right. Yes.
About the so-called master race. So the answer is obviously yes. Now, whether you have that kind of power, which was the second half of your question, is something I can't answer. Only you can answer that question. And it depends on what we do with that power, because whether you're Napoleon or Lenin or George Washington, who America claims was the father of our country, or any of the great women of the world, it's not only how much power you have, but what you do with it. It's not only the power of your ideas, but what you project those ideas with. And sometimes that takes a risk. So whether we agree with Lenin or not, whether we agree with Napoleon or not, we do have to at least acknowledge they took a risk. They were willing to step out and say, this is my idea, when they knew that there would be many people who might disagree with them. So if we want to have a positive effect on the world, it seems to me the amount of impact that we have in the world is directly proportionate to the amount of risk we are willing to take to place that idea before humanity. For instance, some people have said, I would never have published a book called Conversations with God. People are going to ridicule you. They're going to marginalize you. They're going to insult you. They're going to tell you that you're crazy. You can't have a conversation with God. You're not going to actually put a book out telling people you had a conversation with God. People are going to laugh at you. And some people have laughed at me. And some people have insulted me. And some people have called me names. But you know what? I did it anyway. So, can one person impact the entire world? I got the check. Can one person change the entire world? Ah, great, thank you. She said, why do you think I sent you there?
I would try to talk without a letter. I can't stop to talk about love and peace because I can't stop loving. And I think that changes when, and this is one of a lot ideas who can change, which can change a lot when we love our lives and the life itself. It is the greatest present das wir bekommen haben können. Ich kann es nicht sagen, könnte ich das übersetzen? Das ist das größte Geschenk.
The greatest present that we received is life. That's what you want to say, I think.
Und wenn wir dafür danken, dann ändert das alles.
If we are thankful for it, then it would change everything.
I agree. That's profoundly true. We share the same understanding.
Ihr seid also klar einer Meinung.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Neale, do you have a question
What
for
about
us?
you?
Why do you wear your hair like that?
I love it.
No, I was talking to your husband.
Also,
What about my hairs?
ja, weiß das.
You don't like it?
No, it looks terrific.
What terrific! I took a shower before we started this.
Your hair looks terrific. I was wondering why you let your hair look so terrific. Are you trying to attract the ladies?
Should I better wear it as bold then, or?
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
You as well.
You look younger every time I see you.
Well, because of her.
Ah, you're not supposed to reveal your sexual secrets.
No.
But I do understand how you could feel younger because of her. I can understand that.
Thank you. No, she makes me younger every day, really.
Of course she does. Look at her, my God.
Neale, do you, do you, Mickey is so sexy. I know that. Oh my gosh.
Could we please change the topic?
Neale, do you like to say something about your new books?
No.
No.
Okay.
Don't ask him a closed question. Do the same issue that I did.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah, I know. I see
Ask
this
him,
now.
what do you want to tell us about your new book? This is an open question.
There's a book called The God Solution,
Yeah.
to be serious, which really places before humanity information that could produce a global theological revolution, because it offers a brand new definition of God, a definition that would be daring, very daring for most human beings to embrace. But the message of the book is that if people embraced this new daring definition of God and put it into practice in our daily lives, the world could literally change overnight. And that's why the book is called The God Solution, because it's a solution to what I have called the God dilemma. The God dilemma is this: if there really is a God, why is the world such a mess? And why has the world been such a mess for so many years? And the answer that the book places before humanity is The world is a mess because we have not understood clearly and accurately who and what God really is. We haven't understood what God wants. We haven't understood what God would do if God does not get what God wants. And most important of all, we have not understood how to use the higher power that we say exists. Most people believe in a higher power of some kind, but we don't know how to use it. So the God solution offers answers to all of those questions, including the last 5 chapters, which talk about how to use the higher power. So I invite people to take a look at it and see if they find the book as useful as I found the book to be. The title of the book is The God Solution, and it's available at most worldwide online bookstores. And thank you for the opportunity to share that information about the book. That's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity to share this time with you.
Thank you. And we
Thank
see
you
us.
for being here
Thank you.
with us.
We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, we do.
Ja. And I think we see us in a half year. Mal gucken, sagt man in Deutsch.
Let's have a look.
Ja.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye, Neale.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Stay
Thousand kisses on you.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Have a good time.